So, the text we are studying is Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja means seek, Govinda, the self. Seek the self. Because if you waste your time with these non-essentials of life, it's not going to help you ultimately. So he says, when the appointed time comes, these grammar rules will not save you. If you focus on grammar and lose the essence, which is what the language is trying to communicate, doesn't make sense. Similarly, this human life has been given to you for a purpose, which is to find out who you are, to unfold yourself. And if you waste it just trying to acquire and enjoy from the world, it's a sad state because you've lost what the essence is. See, there's a story. So there was a saint, and people used to think he's a madman because what he used to do was every morning take a big boulder and roll it up a hill. And it used to take him hours and hours to get there. And it used to be afternoon, evening by the time he got there. And when he got the boulder on top of the hill, he used to kick it and it used to go down. And while it's going down, he used to have a hearty laugh. And next morning, same thing. So everybody thought he's completely off. Until two people came who were looking for this man. They kept on going from village to village asking, have you seen a man like that? Finally they came to this village. They say, yes, we have a madman. Why are you looking for him? He's our guru. They said, oh, I thought we had one madman, now we know we have three. So the message is, what he's trying to communicate, those two people got it. To get to the point where you are a human being, it's the pinnacle of evolution in this universe. You reach the highest point. Because a human alone is the species which can conceive what is beyond all this. And make the effort to understand and get there. And such a great opportunity you've been given, and what do you waste it for? What do you do with it? What's the significance?
Pleasures of the world. Pleasures of the world. Instant.
That entire effort, that entire achievement you give up for that pleasure of seeing the boulder roll down, which is a few seconds. So you don't understand that. Everything you're doing in this world is just for that instant pleasure. That next weekend, that next vacation. I'm not against it. Vedanta is not against it. But not at the expense of finding out what you're here for. That's what he's trying to say. So, the whole exercise is to understand what is really permanent, what is lasting, what will help you. Not just self realization, even in this world, versus these essenceless, futile things, which after a while has no meaning, which you don't understand. And that's what he said in the second verse, that dhanagama trishna. So there are these two forces, right? Acquisition and enjoyment. So you are so caught up in acquiring things from the external world, and having acquired, you try and enjoy. It doesn't work. Both acquisition is insatiable. You can never find satisfaction through acquisition. And enjoyment also, okay, there is a temporary happiness, but comes with a lot of baggage involved. In fact, you lose that happiness because there's a diminishing return. As you contact it, even that goes. So again, you're left with a state of no satisfaction. Hmm? But you feel, if I just get that next thing, and you're caught up your whole life with it. So I was telling you, right? There's a migrant caravan which is in the news. You know, all heard fellows walked, took rides wherever, from Honduras to America. Thousands of fellows. Hmm. Now, what does each one of them believe? Have you believed walking? You know Mexico, how huge it is. They walked through the whole, and then first was Guatemala, which itself is in Central America is the biggest in terms of land area. Weeks and months they are going for what?
Better life.
Huh? Better life. Chance of a better life. For them, what is a better life?
Survival.
Security.
Hmm?
Security.
Security.
Food.
You know,
Food.
the guy who washes your car in the car wash, or the maid who comes and cleans your house, for them, that is the ultimate. Hmm? Now, assuming you get here and you get that job, what does that person want? You think that's it? Oh, I've got security, I don't have a car, I don't have this insurance, I don't have. So, and you go and go and go. Now you see, okay, I've got a house like this. You think this is it? You don't have a home in the Hamptons though. This is the poverty. For a person who doesn't have this, it's a short hills. But it has no meaning at all. So you believe that there is a finality by getting something. There's no such thing. So you should see this. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it is many years ago. The Queen of Versailles. Have you seen that documentary? I told you to see it for education's sake. See it.
What is it?
The Queen of Versailles. Versailles, V-E-R, the French.
French.
Named after the French palace where the royalty used to stay. And there's a documentary on these guys who are building the biggest home in America. Billionaires. And it's amazing how they let them in the house, and they made a documentary. So the lady is asking her, "You already have such a huge house. Why do you want?" So they want to make the biggest house in America. I don't know if they made it because they stopped construction. They couldn't afford it or whatever. Because I remember one of my students who builds all these mansions in the Hamptons. He showed me the biggest house in America there. And he showed me a plot he's building next to it for one of his other clients. So I was asking, what about that one? He's saying that's the biggest house in America. And anyway, so this guy is asking her, why do you have such a beautiful house already? Why do you want to build? She says, we are bursting at the seams. You have no idea how small. You know how much it was? 32,000 square feet. And she gave the reasons why it's too small for them. Her husband, two children. It's too small. And you can't argue with that. According to her, acquisition. So the same feeling a person has when he's got a 2-bedroom and he says, no, I need a 4-bedroom. She has the same feeling. That's what you don't understand. You believe that that feeling will go. Find me one person. It's not possible. So acquisition and then enjoyment. It's all just a passing phase. See that Tiger Woods, what happened to him? 6 years in the wilderness. He got the best wife, the best fellow wanted somebody else. Destroyed his own. That feeling, that enjoyment goes. Then you want something else. You want somebody else. You want something else. After a while, you get sick of variety also. That's what you don't understand. See, the fellows, they want to go to restaurant. After a while, they said, this restaurant is very good. Why? You get home cooked food. Why are you going all the way around and coming back? This is what happens. After a while, you want dal chawal. Just to go on a trip, crave just a simple rice and vegetable. You don't understand. So that's what he says. Don't get caught up in that instant feeling. Understand the whole thing. That was the third verse. It's called Pratipaksha Bhavana, which is educate yourself through intellectual reevaluation. So reevaluate. This is what I'm coming here week after week to help you evaluate your life. That's all. You don't do. So evaluate. So he says, okay, look, what is that verse saying? It's one of the powerful verses. So I told you, woman signifies enjoyment. Gold signifies wealth. It's a proverbial. Wealth and woman, Kanchana Kamini. So that's the most powerful enjoyment, right? So what are you getting so obsessed with? He says, think about it. Every part is disgusting if looked at apart. But when you put it together, you feel, oh, it's interesting. Oh, I love her eyes. Take out the eyes and put it in your hand. You see, there's nothing more disgusting than a pair of eyes without the body. Teeth. What a smile. Take out all the teeth and put it in the hand. Disgusting, right? Have you ever seen a tooth when you extract your tooth? You get it out. It's a horrible thing to see. So the constituent parts all are painful, but the whole you get attracted. I want a child. I know a guy going through somersaults. This special need, that special need, this tuition, that has to be done. Just the concept of, I'm not saying you should not have a child. Are you aware of what are the constituent parts of that obligation? One lady I know, she just passed away recently. Till her deathbed, she's early 90s, she's complaining about her children. He never took care of me. 90, that fellow is 70. Complaining about, every time I go, she complains about her son. What sort of a fellow is this? 70 years, complaints. You produced the child. Interesting. So, don't get obsessed. Understand what are the implications. But you don't get to see that. I told you, Bollywood, they'll end the movie when the marriage is done. What about after the marriage? Why don't they show that? So this morning somebody said, right, what was the joke?
Happy ending.
Happy ending means the happiness has ended. One fellow said it in the class this morning. So what I'm saying is you don't see the whole picture. You see one part of it. After 4 days, it's just a car. Remember that. One of my friends told me, so obsessed with his new car. He said after 4 days, it's just a car. After a few years, it's just your life, monotonous routine. So, how do you get back that enthusiasm to live? That freshness is only through self development. There's no other way. Please understand that. If you want that back in your life, that enthusiasm. So, this is what we ended last time, 2 and 3. And now he continues in the 4th verse, again a hard hitting verse, which talks about the fickleness of your existence itself. So, before we get there, any questions or clarifications from the last few verses? Anything else? Okay. Verse 4.
जलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम् विद्धिर्व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम् नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम् विद्धिर्व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम्
Water on a lotus leaf is extremely unsteady. So is life very unstable. Understand the entire world consumed by disease and conceit, abhiman, vyadhi, is smitten with sorrow. Lokam, shokam, hatam, cha samastam. So, he is comparing your life to a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Now, when a drop of water falls on a lotus leaf, what happens? Huh? So unstable because there's a wax covering, right? Anytime little wind, it just slides back into the lake. He says your life is like that drop of water. So fickle, so unstable. See, even now, I was driving. That's why I tell you all, maintain a safe distance. Some of you guys drive me around. Nobody knows how to drive. You keep such a close distance. Now, any little person breaks or something, you must always keep a safe distance. Not because just braking. See, these fellows are on the phone all the time. You will see invariably in the front, fellow swerving, and you come back. And if you pass the guy, I just glance on the phone. Can't understand this. So, in other words, you may be driving safely and guy next to you gets a text from his wife, you idiot, you're gone. But she called me an idiot. He looks at the text, how dare some mood of some other guy, and you're gone. This is how fickle it is. Guys are doing some yoga, right, in Florida, the studio. Fellow comes and it's unbelievable. So you don't understand how the whole thing is. See, when I was at the academy, first, so now it would be over 20 years, 25 years when I joined. After a while, that guy came. This man used to come. He was a young guy those days, in his late 20s. He used to come from Bombay to help us with our landscaping. We had just started landscaping. Now you go there, it's a beautiful academy. When I had joined, it was jungle, literally a jungle. Snakes and scorpions, no, coming in the rooms and all. That sort of 25 years. Now it's beautifully landscaped and all. So how do you start that thing? So this guy used to come to help us, very sweet fellow. And I came here, I'm talking now, this must be 10 years ago. So he was in his early 30s. He just dropped dead. Some sort of, I don't know what they call it, some heart thing, not a heart attack, something happened. Just dropped dead. Couldn't believe it. Years and years we had association. This is not one case. So many there. So you must understand the whole thing is unstable, which you don't. And see how you survive, I've told you. What does everybody believe? Each one of you, when you hear all this, somebody had cancer, somebody got this, somebody.
I'm invincible.
It will not happen to me. Each one believes that. Bottom of your heart, you genuinely believe that. That's why you live. I'm not saying you should see the difference between pessimism and philosopher. I've told you repeatedly. Pessimist is one who sees the negative part of life and has no solution. Philosopher, you see life as it is, you have clear-cut solution. But you must at least understand the nature of the world, which you don't. See, like Ramatirtha says, sometimes the pigeon gets its wings clipped, injured or something, so it can't fly, right? And then it's in a corner, it can't fly. And then the cat comes for it to kill it. And it goes into a corner, and the cat is coming. And you know what the pigeon does? Closes its eyes. It just closes its eyes. When it closes its eyes, what happens?
Don't see the cat.
Disappears.
The cat is gone. He says, this is how you are. You just close your eyes. So as far as you're concerned, there's nothing wrong. That doesn't mean there's nothing. So you must understand the reality. And it's not just life. While you are living, what is the problem? At every level, he says, at the physical level, there's disease. At the emotional level, sorrow. At the intellectual level, conceit, arrogance. And the world is consumed by these three things. So, at the physical level, there is a constant onslaught of disease, which you don't understand. A doctor here will confirm. Somebody told me that at the late 20s is the aging process begins, correct? So, aging means there are less cells generated, more are destroyed. Growth means when there is more generation, less destruction, right? We all know that. Late 20s it starts. Disease. So the ramifications of that, it's not disease in the sense you have a flu and all. It's that process. So Dhoni just got dropped, from the team. What they don't realize is by the late 20s, early 30s, that few milliseconds reflexes go less. You're out of the team. By the time early 30s, even the actors, actresses, a little bit the face starts this thing. Immediately, especially the actress is out. Actors go on a little longer. This is what I'm calling disease. Disease is not you're sitting and you got, cough and cold. It's this constant onslaught of. So, all the time you're fighting it. The body is fighting it. this ache, this pain, this glasses come on, mid-30s, 40s, constant. And that's at the physical level. At the emotional level, what is there?
Sorrow.
Hmm?
Sorrow.
What do you mean sorrow?
Unhappiness.
Ever since you're born, what is that which is with you?
What else is wanting?
Fear.
What is desire?
Fear.
Unfulfilled desire. And sorrow is nothing but the mental agitation caused by unfulfilled desire. There is that constant feeling of unfulfillment. I am lacking something. That is sorrow. I've explained that to you. You are the self, the Atman, each one of you. Right now, you don't know that. So, the Atman, self, God, the nature of that self is complete, full, infinite happiness. Right now, you are not in that state. You've left that state. Therefore, you feel a sense of unfulfillment. There is a constant pressure for pleasure. A spring is 4 feet long. You compress it to 1 feet. What happens? There's a pressure. Why is there a pressure? Not in its original state. There's a pressure to come back to your original state. Your real state is infinite. Remember one thing. You are not in that state. Therefore, all of us feel a pressure. There's something missing. And your thoughts go to the world to try and fill that. This is called desire. So as long as there's a desire, means there's unfulfillment. This is sorrow. So all of us have it. Less or more. But why don't you feel it? If I ask any of you in the road, if we meet and ask you, how are you? What will you say? I'm fine. How are you? Genuinely, you're not lying. Why don't you feel it? Huh?
Normalized to that.
You got acclimatized to that sorrow. It's like, you go to the hospital first time, you see a fellow in the emergency room who's had a knife attack and all the blood is coming out. What will happen? Faint. Right. Generally speaking. Now doctor comes, what did he do? What's happening? Blood's coming out. They don't feel anything. They're acclimatized. Desensitized. Same thing has happened. Because since the time you were born, you've gone through that feeling. You believe it's normal. Only when you come out of it, you understand. Gods can't help you understand what I'm saying. I've given you examples, right? A slum dweller will never feel there's a problem. A guy who's born in a slum, who's lived in a slum, such horrible conditions. Behind is the sewage, in front is the road. Children are playing on the road. Cooking is going on there. And you ask them, normal. Now the same guy goes and lives in a penthouse for 2 days. He commits suicide, he won't go back there. Only when you come out of it, you understand what you're going through. That's why it's impossible to communicate this wisdom. Because you're in it. How can you understand? So, this is what he says, shokam, sorrow. And intellectual level, what is it?
Conceit.
What is conceit?
Arrogance.
Arrogance that I know what I am doing. This is the disease we all suffer from at the intellectual level. I know how to live my life. So many of you tell me at different points, this has helped me so much, it has changed my life, this, that. But I try and tell others, nobody listens. Not one person I've been able to. You can't. I'm not saying they're wrong. They believe they know how to live their life. But they don't know. Fighting and bickering with their spouse, children every day, worries, anxiety, taking medication. I don't know. So, understand the realities, friends. How fragile the whole thing is. And even that part which you're living, subject to change anytime, itself is fraught with all this. Then you may ask, if all this is true, then what is happening in the world? For which I'll tell you a story. And if you've heard it before, you hear it again, because anyway you're not following it. And those who've not heard it, remember this. The story is, a guy is walking in the forest. And I've heard of a little change to the story, so there's one other twist to it. If you heard it before, I've heard it. So he's walking in the forest, suddenly he sees a tiger coming after him. So he runs for his life. And he doesn't know what to do. He sees a tree and he can climb trees, so he climbs up. Okay? And as soon as he climbs the tree, he thinks he's safe, but the tree starts creaking because it's a dead tree. So he starts. And then he looks on the other side. He's like, saved. He's an expert swimmer. So there is a river. He says, I'll just jump on the river and swim away. Tiger won't be able to catch. He's about to do that. He sees crocodile. Waiting, come. Tiger here, crocodile there. Tree is shaking. And since he was about to jump, he disturbed a beehive on the tree. So the beehive is on top, he disturbed it, all the bees start stinging him. Can you imagine his condition? Can you think anything worse? And the addition to the story is, this was the story, then his misery stops. So, addition to the story is, that time he starts thinking of God. Okay, now cooperate with me. And God, please save me from this. And God comes to save him. Yes, I'm going to save you. And when he's about to hold God's hand, he sees, what does he see? Honey dropping from the beehive. Yes, God, please wait. And he sticks his tongue out. Now pause the scene right here. Okay, now this is going on in your TV, pause it. Who's that joker?
Us.
Me. That's what you must say. This tree is your life. He's just said, so unstable. Right? So unstable. This is the crocodile and death tiger sitting on this fragile tree. Yeah, that's okay. I am still safe right now. And what is happening? What else is happening? All the pinpricks of life. Wife is terrible. Property taxes are high. Weather horrible. Traffic. Children not doing well. Diwali party they didn't invite me. 4 parties I invited him. That fellow, he had 1 party, didn't invite me. These are all the bee stings. Morning, noon, night. Coffee is cold, tea is hot. In this. And then finally you have somebody coming and teaching you how to come out of all this. And you say, yes, now I should go to Vedanta. Then you're about to go, and what happens? Next drop of honey. What are we doing for lunch today? Where are we going to this weekend? Who's invited us for the next party? If you analyze your life, that's all you're doing. That next drop of honey, disregarding everything going on around. Hanta, Hanta, says the Upanishads. Alas, what can anybody do? This actually happened. That's what this verse is saying. So again, it's not pessimism, but understand what is happening. And there is a clear-cut solution, which is this knowledge. This knowledge of who you are. Once you attune to that, these things become irrelevant. They will not bother you. But you got to put in the effort to get it. You understand? We wanted to have an intro, right? Every weekend party after party. This party, nobody will come. That party is... No. This is the world, now what do you do? Where is the next party? The next this? Which movie is coming out? So, to see beyond that, that's the challenge. Alright? That was verse 4. Very powerful verse. Again, like he said in verse 2, Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam. Now you listen to this in the class, you get little inspired. As soon as you come out of the door, it's all gone. So you have to work on thinking about this again and again. That's why every morning you have to sit with the books. There's a course of study. You got to sit, you got to think, you got to reason. Intellectually reevaluate what's happening with you. It doesn't register because that next honey, that thought is so strong, it overrides everything else. Let my daughter just go to college, the right college. Let my son just do. It's the next drop of honey. You feel? No such thing. There's never a finality. Remember that. Clear? Yes.
So it's okay to sort of go after the enjoyments, but it's just the thirst for the enjoyment that's the problem, right? That's what we started with initially.
Yes.
So you can enjoy, but it's just a thirst. You should not have that craving for acquisition, or the craving is the problem.
Craving is the problem. Yes, of course.
So what defines the craving, and how do you know that you have a problem with something?
Craving means it disturbs you. There is that feeling of agitation and unfulfillment. That is the test. See, you have the craving is, if I get that, I'll be happy. So right now you're unhappy. That's the test. It's become an obsession. It's become a craving. It's gone out of control. So even though you're progressing in life, you want to progress, you want to improve, you want to progress, whatever, grow, but not at the cost of your mental peace. Get it? That's the whole, what do you call what's the word for it? That's the whole challenge. How to grow and progress and yet remain peaceful within. See, I had a seminar in Manhattan on Thursday. It was this corporate conference, technology conference. Very good audience. We had a couple of hundred people, and I gave the last keynote. And the question and answer session was all about this. How can you grow and progress if you are not disturbed? So that's what he's talking about. You set the goal with your intellect. This is what I ought to achieve. That doesn't mean you're disturbed in the present. So the craving is that agitation. The problem with that is, that thirst cannot be quenched. As soon as you get that, the next thirst comes up. So you're always miserable. Get it? So that is when it comes to acquisition. When it comes to enjoyment, which is what you're asking, if there's a thirst, there is no control over that enjoyment. You lose the enjoyment. See, for example, you have a desire for alcohol to enjoy it. If it becomes a craving, what happens? You become an alcoholic. You understand? That's all. You're finished. You have a desire for food. You enjoy it. But if you lose control, what happens? You lose your health, become obese, or all sorts of problems. And in fact, you lose the enjoyment also. Get it? So both ways there's a problem. So craving is when you lose control. Acquisition or enjoyment. This is what you don't understand. So in what has happened in the world, there is a constant thirst for more. They're all the time stressed out. And enjoyment is gone because there's no control. So you've lost the enjoyment. You become neutralized, right? I've explained that to you. See, who's an alcoholic? You know what is an alcoholic? He drinks not because of enjoyment. See, what happens is, I've told you, you drink, you start with a drink. What was the buzz, what they say, you got when you had your first drink? In college or wherever, school, wherever, maja. First drink when you're a kid is like a. Now, after a while, what happens? You need 2 drinks to get that same buzz. Which means what?
Enjoyment is happening.
You have lost 50% of the pleasure of alcohol. Do you realize that? 50% is gone. After a while, you need 4 drinks to get that same pleasure you got out of 1. 75% of the pleasure is gone. After a while, the pleasure becomes 0. This is called neutralization. But you have to drink. Why?
To be normal. To be normal.
Which means what? What does that mean?
Get rid of agitation.
With it, there's no pleasure, but without it, you feel miserable. So you need it to be normal. This is what happens with enjoyment. There's no enjoyment. You have a car. With it, there's no pleasure. Without it, you'll be miserable. If you don't have that status car or whatever, with it, it's normal every day. This is the problem with enjoyment. So with Vedanta, you develop an intellect, you regulate, you moderate the enjoyment so you can keep it right through. This trip also, I was staying at various homes, I was with Swamiji. I was telling them this morning, right? Every time I open the fridge, everything is expired. They said, do you want, we have some ice cream for you. I said, yes, I'd like some. But when they're not looking, I look at the carton down. What's the... Oh, you're not having... No, I'm okay. So, 3 years back, it's expired. Look at your fridge, go home today. Half the things will be... There's no enjoyment because it's right there. Ice cream and all, who eats it? It's just there all the time. And if you eat it also, it's because you feel miserable without it. It's not that there's any... This is neutral. You understand? It's interesting. So, otherwise, how do you explain this for us? There's no pleasure. In fact, that's why you see these celebrities and all, the drugs and all, because nothing normal gives them pleasure. What do you see? You all have something to look forward to, right? Oh, I'll get a, I don't know, what do you look at? Tesla, something like that. There's something to look forward to. Imagine a fellow with nothing to look forward to. Oh, new Tesla, big deal. European vacation, oh God, again I have to go. Horrible. There's nothing. You've done it. There's nothing to look forward to. So you need drugs. You need something out of the ordinary. That's why all these guys. And then even that you get neutralized too, then you overdose. You want me to give you a list? All the people who you look up to. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe. Top. Can't. I wish that's what they need is Vedanta. How to maintain that enjoyment right through. You just go all out, finish. It's gone. The worst affected are the kids of these real rich when finished. By the time they're 15, 16 is all over. There's nothing to look forward to. I have seen so many, it's very sad. So you practice little bit, that's what I'm saying, craving. You practice little bit of withdrawal. Can eat a piece of chocolate, you should enjoy it. It's not just a chocolate has to be there after every meal. It must be how? By maintaining a withdrawal. The children also. Just give them everything because you can afford it. They lose the pleasure. Should be some withdrawal. First thing no parent understands. They go reverse. I did not get this. Therefore, they should have everything and destroy them. Because you didn't have, you put an effort and you work to get something. That's what you don't understand. So both acquisition and enjoyment. You lose control, you're gone, both things are gone. So you must have that feeling of enjoying even acquisition. You want to go to work, you want to make money, do you enjoy that? I want to go and, no, it's just a regular routine. And enjoyment is also regular. Routine, monotonous existence. See, once in a while fast, We do it in the academy once a week, simply just don't have one meal. That also you can't do. Just to give yourself that feeling of hunger. When was the last time you felt hungry? Every few minutes, every hour or two, something has to go through inside. Some snack, some this. You know how enjoyable it is to feel hungry and then eat. Real satisfaction in it. Nobody is hungry only. They're simply eating all the time. So these things will help. And I'm not saying fast. I understand the principle. There should be some withdrawal in life. Latest phone call, I have to have it. Boring thing you have it. Just give yourself, just because you can afford it. Little withdrawal. Keeps the joy going. Keep the anticipation going. In relationships also same thing. Morning, noon, night, I love you, I love you. I love you more. Disgusting. Shut up. I love you, I love you. There should be some meaning in that word also. It's like a routine. So, emotionally also, we lose the enjoyment completely because too much indulgence. Withdrawal. See, in the good old days, because of that joint family system, the contact between husband and wife also highly regulated. There is no problem, divorce, nothing. So here now everything is available every time. So it becomes you lose it very quickly. It's gone. Everything's gone. This is the problem in life. So even to enjoy, you need Vedanta. Good question. You see, so when it becomes a craving, you lose the enjoyment because you overindulge. And when it becomes a craving, it disturbs you in terms of acquisition. So if you're acquiring, you should not be disturbed. If you're enjoying, there should be regulation. That's the test of no loss of control. Got it? Good question. How do you know you've lost that control? Got it? Anything else? So the fifth verse, now he talks about, because you will say, okay, all this is okay, but I have my family, I have my relationships, those are so dear to me, everything is thing. You'll try and find some solace somewhere. And you try and do that, and again it demolishes you. So all the relationships you have is based on give and take, man. There's no such thing as love. Yeah. 1300 years ago he's telling you. The same, whether it's 5000, whether it's now. You must understand how fragile what it's based on. It's relationships which you claim to have. I think this went wrong.
निज परिवारो रक्तः पश्चात् जीवति जर्जर देहे वाताङ्कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निज परिवारो रक्तः पश्चात् जीवति जर्जर देहे वाताङ्कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे
As long as there is the capability to earn wealth, so long will there be a retinue. Later, when he lives with an infirm body, no one will speak to him in his own home. So, this is the reality, friends. Please understand. You're not prepared for it and you complain. So, what are relationships based on is what you can provide. The minute you lose that capacity to provide, that relationship ends. That's what he says. Till you have the capacity to earn wealth, those who are dependent on you are with you. When you lose that capacity, he says, when you're older, nobody will talk to you in your own house. Just about tolerate. This is the reality. Then you get frustrated. You don't understand. This is how it works. Oliver Goldsmith says that. What is friendship? But a charm that lulls to sleep, a shade that follows wealth or fame and leaves the wretched to weep. All your so-called friends is because you provide entertainment, you provide something. The minute you cannot provide that, where are all them? Out. A shade that follows wealth or fame and leaves the wretched to weep. That's what he says. And love is still an emptier sound. The modern fair ones jest on earth unknown or only found to warm the turtle's nest. No such thing as love. It's simply somewhere in the turtle's nest it is. It's not there on this earth. In the other words, it's conditional. How many people are there? How many cases you want? People have disowned their children. The papers. I have nothing to do with my son. It's going on in India also, one big thing. Raymond fighting, billionaire. Fighting like, the guy doesn't have a house to stay. Don't throw him out. So, it's amazing. See that, I'm from Mumbai, where Swamiji lives, in Malabar Hill, got an apartment. Right next to that is the State Bank of India chairman's house. They get a 2-year term. You know that house? You've seen it. It's like a governor's house. Huge plot. That plot must be worth, I don't know how much. $100, $200 million plot. Dollars I'm talking. Right today. The day they retire, fellow goes to whatever he's accumulated through his savings, some 2-bedroom in his village or whatever, I don't know. Nobody looks at. See, when they are in those 2 years, all the top industrialists in the country, salam sir, what do you want? Because they have to sanction those thousands of crores of loans, right? The day they lose that, even the peon doesn't see him. Yes, what do you want? That's the reality. That's when they get frustrated. So I'm giving you stories to help you understand how it works. You're not prepared. You have an expectation that people's feelings will remain the same. They don't change. So one girl came to one of her students, she's a social worker. She was telling me, she goes to this lady, Indian lady, she's an American, and that lady bitterly complains, she's terminally ill, and her own daughter who lives a couple of miles away doesn't come. Social workers come. Then no, it was too much for me, I can't deal with it. Sending the, doesn't come. Bitterly complain. So what Vedanta says is, why are you dependent upon other people and their whims and fancies for your internal happiness? You must be independent. That's the hallmark of a human being. You're willing to do anything, you're willing to serve, but not expecting anything. Because you will become self-sufficient within. Please understand. You've got to become self-sufficient. Get it? Doesn't matter. This is what Vedanta will teach you. Become self-sufficient for your happiness. So you're no longer dependent on the world. Then there's no problem. So this is the reality. See that Yuvraj Singh, those of you who follow cricket, 2011 he won the World Cup for India with the man of the series and all, if you remember. 2013, there was a World Cup T20. 2 years later, they pelted his house with stones because he played slow and that final India lost. Same guy who they were worshipping, 2 years later they're throwing stones at his house. Smashed windows and the fellow was, how dare they do this big for? This is the reality. You cater, when you lose that capacity, and after that he was out of the team. 1-2 times he came back, nothing, right? At the age mid-30s, it's all gone. So that's what he says. As long as you have that capacity. So understand, these are the realities of life. So you can give stories after stories. And that's what he continues in the 6th verse. We'll chant it, but I'll explain it the next time.
Vattavano nivasati dehe tavat pruchhati kushalam gehe gadavati vayo dehapaye bharya vibhyati tasmin kaye yavat tavano nivasati dehe tavat pruchhati kushalam Gatavati vayo dehapaye bharya vibhyati tasmin kaye.
So he continues, he says, as long as the breath lasts in the body, so long would there be inquiry of your welfare. Once your breath leaves and the body decays, your own wife fears that same body. So, I'll explain it further next time, but he says something which you give so much importance to, this body. Once the breath leaves it, the people who are nearest to you are scared of it. Will you sleep with a dead body? However close they are to you, cremate it, bury it, do what you have to do. So much importance. Oh, one wrinkle has come, my God. Oh, something which is inherently just vehicle, it's a car. So all he's trying to say is don't get swayed and caught up by things which inherently have nothing. Go for the essence, which is yourself, the truth, the reality, the eternity. So we will continue that next week. Any of you need the book?